Recording. Thanks for having me. I am going to read this one poem that is in the issue. Um, my name's Mary Beth Becker. I am a poet living in Minnesota. I am from Omaha, Nebraska. Um, Self-portrait as storm breaking over Omaha. The city of Omaha, Nebraska is an atmospheric heat island, a weather phenomenon whereby an overabundance of concrete, sparse tree cover, and too many dark-roofed buildings force hot air upward, interrupting large weather systems overhead. As a result, most thunderstorms and blizzards disappear when they reach the city or split into two smaller systems, which then move north or south. How to say it? I arrived a puddle, reflecting the field I'd drowned. In the great dictionary of weather, a daughter precipitates, meaning harbinger. When I gather gray, I say what's coming, do what's mine. I dream the water I was, easier the field, away from concrete, just loam, wanting to drink all of me. I hover now 10 Aprils without magnolia, their pink full wind pulling me west, west across the Nishnabotna, the north and south Raccoon, troublesome creek. I could be troublesome creek, but oh, good daughters, drive west, with clouds like petticoats to gather in one hand, so I fly faster towards what made me. River, flow, and magnet. Up here, in the great dictionary of weather, a good daughter returns to the source. But they've annexed the field. Now nothing thirsts for me. I break over the Missouri, which this spring has already claimed 4 daughters. I am one of 4 daughters. Up here, in the great dictionary of weather, a good daughter evaporates. What unwants me smells of asphalt. In the great dictionary of weather, a good daughter comes home willingly in any shape. But there is no rain in Omaha, just centuries of pavement undaughtering rainstorms. They track me on the radar, disappearing. I blow closer. Their mouths are so dry. Thank you.
Carlisle. I live in the Arkansas Ozarks, hard up on the Missouri border, in the land of meth and beauty, probably in equal parts. The poem that I have in SoFloPoJo is Tell Me a New Story. And the epigraph is someone like me doesn't escape Louis Gluck. Or Glick, have it your way. I have looked away. I have said I don't care. I have laughed at the fire hose. I have felt momentarily safe. I say our lives are stories we tell ourselves. Tell yourself a new story. Tell one to your friends. Thousands of government pages gone one Friday night. Each Friday night, each Saturday, a new barbarity slips in under cover of weekend dusk. Damned if the nightmares haven't begun again. I don't believe the camps are for them. And now in this time of the trad wife and the what is it? Bimbo feminist. I have a fairy tale for our time. Briar Rose. It happened more than once in that time between birth control pills and AIDS. It happened over and over, although it's a struggle to remember any of them, those exquisite boys with their hands in the briars, the young ones with knives, the serious ones in ties, the princes in Levi's, all of them bringing their several and various gifts of flesh, their heat and beauty, the praise that echoed from their castle to yours, frightened ones, carrying lack under their tongues like a lead penny. Empty ones come to fill you up with lies. Witchy ones, they're wooing like the 13th fairy's curse. All of them crowding the hedge around your heart with their shears, their crazy desire, and you cursed to stay with them a while you waited for something you had been promised was love. Thank you.
I want to thank you for having me here. And it's always wonderful to be able to read out loud. I'm a firm believer that a poem is never complete until it's been read. So it's an honor to be here completing my work tonight. I'm a poet from Mid-Coast, Maine. It's a beautiful area of the country where they say the mountains meet the sea. And right now, our population has tripled because it's still tourist season until Labor Day. So a lot of us who live here try to stay home and take back roads this time of year, whenever it's possible. I'd like to dedicate this poem to anyone who's been going through a hard time and has not yet found a healthy outlet for their grief. I'm going to read this poem fairly quickly. You can probably tell my normal voice is fairly slow, but this poem is one sentence. It's called, "When my daughter learns her dad is leaving me, she hands me her boxing glove. The first time I slide my hands into her gloves, they feel too large. Hands that hold onto more in this life than I have asked to have or hold. And even though it's been years since I hooked and jabbed and raised a bag from its chain with uppercuts, I now know the importance of embracing my stance, of rising on the balls of my feet to meet the moment and to sink into my knees that link me to the ground. And each time Everlast swivels into view, I wonder, how solid is this promise? Because I need the punching bag to outlast a marriage without separating from its rings or splitting the joist that bears the load of all that is built upon it. As I drill my fists, pneumatic machines, whole body engaged in throwing punches, the fist that pivots, the shoulder that extends, the gut that tightens, the hips that rotate, the mind that sharpens to a single bee sting as each fist lands. One hand tasked with protection, chin tucked in. I am a blade, and the bag takes all I have to give. Thank you, everyone. It's been an honor, by the way, to be with so many incredible poets in this issue. So I really look forward to hearing everyone else read today.
Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Faulkner. I'm a London-born poet based in Brooklyn, but right now I'm in the Catskills, which is lovely. And I'm really excited to be reading with you all, and so grateful, Michael, to have my poem Good Friday in this issue. I'm going to read the poem that's in the issue, and I'm going to read one other poem from my forthcoming collection, if that's all right. So this is my poem Good Friday. What does a frozen landscape dream of? Late April, ice floes melting. Longed for June with its wide blue wings. A trellis that needs mending. Blessing of a downpour. Staggering at the shoreline, he sees white ankle socks floating like swollen water lilies. A rainbow pinwheel cycling slowly in the pondweed. Clouds of clocks ticking on. He will never forgive himself for letting her play too close to the river, seeing her stumble again and again, dreaming of his own death as barter for the life of his only child, lowering the floodgates to be swept away by silt. I know he tried to save her, brackish water rushing at his knees, but he did not try to save us. Soon the river will freeze again. My daughter's stone boat is moored near the edge of the woods. At dusk, I light lamps to bring them both home. They shine so bright, I have to close my eyes. Thank you. And I'm going to read one more poem. This is from my forthcoming collection, Daughters of the Minotaur, which will be published in 2027 by Regal House. And it's titled Iron Lung. She's a better gambler than friend, always late, her fiery ponytail swinging, gate crashing the party, pockets stuffed with bus tickets, annihilating me in the jukebox glow of last orders, demanding I buy a round, peel an orange, teach her to fly, breathing life into me like an iron lung. I see her sauntering beside me, cackling wildly, eating all the crisps, her almost human face a mirror of my own. If I take her home, she'll rearrange kitchen knives, eat toast in bed, leave crumbs on my pillow, mark her territory in spit and fog on my bedroom window, limbs intertwined, tongues cement thick. In her sharp, metallic morning, I expand with an accordion wheeze, my hair flowing through her twisted metal. I can't forget my red plastic purse on the bureau, the money stolen last spring. She is hateful, but when she leaves, I miss her. Bury my bracelet in the dirt under the elm tree to lure her back. Listen for laughter in the stammer of the banister. Smell her spite in the thermostat's hiss. I am alone with midnight whispers, chest tight, holding fast to the walls of my shiny chamber. We are survivors of each other, her frigid hands still holding mine as they wheel my broken body from the bellows. Thank you.
Say thank you so much to Michael and to Judy and all the editors. This is my first time being published in SoFloPoJo, and I'm honored to be here. I'm a poet in Asheville, North Carolina, and my poem, Late Summer, was published in this issue. I'm going to read a poem that I just wrote about 3 days ago. It's a little rough. It's taken me this long to write about Hurricane Helene, so if you will indulge me, I'm going to read this poem called Song of Plastics After Hurricane Helene. Almost a year now, the road along the river, cleverly named Riverside Drive, trash still hangs like bodies swinging from the trees. Ghost-like wind, tethered spirits, cracked and scarred, muddy skeletons. Their companions, PVC pipes, sticking up like straws in God's root beer float, sucking up all the souls of the missing, the drowned, the sunk, telling no secrets of the crimes done to this earth, for money, money, profit, profit, for generations. Listen, the trash is singing for them, whistling in the vinyl chlorine wind, polyvinyl chloride waves. Swing low, sweet chariot, comin' for to carry me in polymer ethylene, flame retardant waters, dirty white flags of surrender, snagged all down the shore. I'm going to read a very short one called Welkin. At birth of day and death of day, the sky cannot be confined to names of colors, When gold turns gray, turns amethyst, with green in between the fiery burn of hope. Light shifting, morphing, begging you not to look away, or you'll miss, one day, becoming another. Thank you so much.
Everyone, it's what a joy to be with all these wonderful poets, and some I know and some I'm looking forward to knowing more. And thank you, Michael, for this really wonderful issue. I'd like to read two poems. The first was the one that was in this issue. It's called MRI. The tech remembered to turn the music on 20 minutes into my session. I had requested a classical feed, and in its absence, I had been bending the electronic boops and mechanical grinds emanating from my surrounding tube into a kind of synthesized etude, something Brian Eno might have composed in an over-caffeinated state. It was almost soothing as I focused on keeping my torso absolutely still. And then the music, the opening strains from Bach's Well-Tempered Clavier, welled up in my earphones. I was astonished to discover those well-worn keyboard arpeggios were in perfect harmony with the grunting obligato from the machine. For 2 glorious minutes, I hung, suspended in an improbable polyphony inside that diagnostic tunnel, borne up by notes and magnetic pulses swirling around my pelvis, unraveling a suspect architecture within my prostate, that frumpy walnut of a gland, so underappreciated, except in the moment of ecstasy. And this second poem is called Tensile. Consider that the tensile strength of silk can stop bullets. So reported an unnamed surgeon 150 years ago, whose office was upstairs from a rowdy Wyoming saloon, who cited the case of a patient with a folded silk handkerchief in his left chest pocket, who got in front of the slug of a Colt 45 and stumbled away with nothing more than a deep bruise over his heart, that the Archduke of Bosnia possessed a silken bulletproof vest, that he rarely wore it, and how different the global maps might look today had he dressed appropriately for that fateful drive in June 1914. Our kids, they go out into this harsh world full of passion and evolving principles, that all you can do is crumple your love and stuff it in their pocket as they head out the door. Then sleep fitfully for the rest of your life. That the strength of silk cannot be reproduced synthetically. Only certain moths in their larval stage can arrange the carbon bonds just so. That mulberry leaves are the most inauspicious raw material. That the human body and a silken shroud are equally compostable. Thanks.
Cool. Hi, I'm Dani. I am reading 2 poems. One is the one that was published in the journal, and then the other one is just one from they're both from my forthcoming collection that comes out in March of 2026 with Sundance Publications. So this is called Push-Ups. My whole God is a flight of good gin, a mouth of florid speak, the bite of a seed, tone. While you do your humble work, I am a parable on time. I am the hook of bitters, heady on light, and the concentration it takes to become a pin drop of fluid. Flushed berry, the girth and menace of a spider, toiling until the color floods out and I become everything you love. While you relax your smooth muscle, I am doing push-ups in the corner, waiting to topple you like a wave from the ocean floor. The fixed nebula of my desire, what it wants is your throat, the gloss of your eyes, its own planet. I am all heel and mountain, your greatest adversary. I grow muscle where your muscle grows quiet. Of better days there are none. There is only me, the looking glass, and the vision beyond it. So delicate is our dance, carrying flowers on the tongue. Oh, how the ice age of your heart found its warmth here. The spice of licorice root, you're ever coming toward the strange familiar. Will you recall the pop of citrus, cardamom, the rude curve of your lips as they form around one sip? Okay. And this last one is from the book as well. It is about, well, it takes its language from a document that I got when I was looking for my birth mother. And the document is given to adoptees that explains their birth history. So this is called The Birth Mother Has Expressive Eyes. Does this moment call for pause? Does this sentence allow for conjecture? Does the birth mother wish to speak in quietude? Does the act of being expressive or having expressed mean that beyond the eyes, there was perhaps a light, say a revelation? And if so, is that revelation in relation to the child who has many names, even within this document? Are the names here enclosed an expression of the will of the state, or perhaps the foster parents deemed fit by said state? And will the child have those same expressive eyes? Does she have them now? Would the court permit us to look into her eyes just this once? And can we say expressiveness is a trait passed down through genetics, easy to behold as a nose or high cheekbones? What have we come here to do today? Separate a child from her mother, write it down, describe the birth mother as tall, slight, with gray hair, brown skin, her eyes. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. So nice to meet you all. I'm going to read first the poem which appears in this issue, which is called Cathedral. And then I'll read another short poem, which is going to be in the next issue of Lana Turner, which is called State of Affairs. But this one is Cathedral. And thank you so much to everyone. Again, I really appreciate it. My favorite summer restaurant can be reached by boat, tied to the shade under plumes of fava. Greedy fish wait to greet you under the cypresses some thousands of years have left to themselves. The chairs are filled with beautiful men who wag their fingers, beat their dogs. The water is reachable from the tables. You can taste the machinery looming from Eden. To eat you need not more than all you've ever loved. Lemons and olives cater here to the blood of beasts who've washed these wooden boards since the Lord spoke, saying, "You are not bitter, 'tis merely the water, whose bed sleeps you beneath sun-lichened canopies." Rivers are eluding our St. Crossed oasis, leaving sublunary oceans to light their votives, and the stars to recede into true night, which poets long have sung, but never seen. Thank you. And then we will do a state of affairs. The ancients, flattering the business of humble self, lie dead together in a field, while we lie here flame-flecked and chambered. Watch us stir our samovar of leaves, burgundy marginalia for home living. The bird's migration is a mask to keep the planets in order, shepherding the rivers away from us. There's a war happening under cloud cover, I was told in a car to the Getty. Seasons flock like fish to the body of waves whose mother is all breath, abolishing the hours, painting our rooms. I see you drive past, but a breeze takes me away for a moment as you pass. The sand we lie on pushes back on our spines, bruised and pale like winter fruit. Their bones are strung with the songs of men, but we've been pushed too hard, friends. Friends, the fat cats are dying. Our day waits to be dawned. It hangs like meat on its hook. Thank you all.
you. It's an honor to be here in this company because I am on day 7 of COVID, which finally caught up with me after 5 years. I spent quite a bit of time today reading the poems online, and I'm so impressed and grateful to be with you. I'm going to read my poem from the issue and then one short one afterwards. Gray Etude. When I struggle out of sleep, the sun has not yet colored the world. The round mirror propped above my dresser mirrors nothing, not even tangled strands of dream. Against the ceiling's pale gray, the fan's starfish arms stop, dark. Grayed the blanket under which I breathe. Grayed the quilt on your side of the bed, flat, untouched since yesterday's remaking and the days before. September, it's 6 a.m., day 89 of mourning since your heart quit. Bereft, I know if I wait, and what is there to do but wait? The world candle will flame above tame hills. If I part the blackout curtains at the window, the yard will shake itself awake in blue frilled asters and last pink angelonias. In this abandoned room, gray walls will warm to fawn. The mirror resume its silver reflections. The quilt's rumpled and unrumpled halves will blossom into color, and my body assume its usual hues. I will dress it in gray sweats, will step outside into my brightened garden where endless tomatoes ripen on bent stems, sagged from the metal cage meant to shelter them. Velcro pruners in hand, your last Christmas gift to me, I'll harvest the crop. Too late for some, they've given up their hold, dead ripe yielding to time and gravity. Red flesh and seeds splay on droughty ground, nothing red can stay. And then the other one is called Blazed after Gerard Manley Hopkins. And it refers to Western larches. And so those of you who are not in the West, they are evergreens that actually turn gold in the fall. All the needles turn gold. Blazed. November's early snow sifts its frigid beauty, dapples the dark ponderosa pines shadowing the river's silver banks. Below fern and cone are frost felled, berry leaves ghost ovaled, frozen globes dangling from crooked branches. But when I turn to greet the river, 5 gleaming torches pierce the slow dusk. Loosed from summer's ordinary green, the western larch's needle bundles candle up in gold, lick the woods alive in light before December weather full descends to send every living shape to sleep, or yes, death. But for this moment, the golden grove glimmers over leaf mold, needle bloom flaring before it releases to gild the ground below. Oh, let me go out like this, blazing in bright tongues, gliding one last path before winterfall quenches me and all in a fine final litter of glitter white and ice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. And thanks to the editors for including my work in this really fine issue. I had a great time doing that interview, by the way. So I appreciate you mentioning that. I love Denise. I'll read 2 poems. I'll read the one that is in this recent issue and then one other. The poem that's in the issue is a poem called Outro. And those of you familiar with classical music know that the end of a classical music piece is often referred to as the coda, but in popular music, it's usually referred to as the outro. So that's why this title. So outro. I will arise and stretch my stiff back now and go to Walgreens for ointment so I can pretend I've more years ahead than behind, and I'll return home, power up my turntable and place the needle to a stone's track. Give me shelter, recorded when women screamed and cried for Mick to take them away, and I'll turn up the volume to create a hive of electric guitar hum, chiming hammer-ons and thumping drums, and I'll dance in my socked feet as if my hips have never locked into a rictus of knotted muscle, as if later I won't swallow a handful of gabapentin and codeine to numb the ache and invite some rest, and I'll dream the narcotic visions of youth, remembering everything, days love-wrecked, blood buzzing on grain-laced punch, waking to bowls of Cheerios and Mad Dog 2020, infatuated with the feedback of joy, grief, laughter, pain, and convinced I'll live it all before I die because I'll never grow old, disciple to a blues progression, forever high in a sonic youth-induced spell, forever rising up against the deaf, heartbroken world. My friend Albert Goldbar said to me the other day, he said, that's one of your getting to be an old man poems. And it sort of shocked me because I still think I'm 30. So the second poem is titled What My Mother Taught Me About Narrative. Both of these poems are part of a manuscript I'm trying to finish up this fall while on sabbatical that right now is tentatively titled Elegy and Everything After. So this is what my mother taught me about narrative. I'm watching her disappear in a Tampa hospital room, her breath rasping, her lips swollen and cracked. My father standing outside the door, his hands stuffed inside his pockets to stop their shaking. It's an image I'll want to discard, but the consequence of age is memory, both its presence and its absence, its truth and lies. It's the inevitable byproduct of life, stories we didn't mean to write, but the pen scratched out each letter's line and curve anyway. I'm sure my mother, all of 17, when she discovered she was pregnant, had imagined she'd author a different tale than this one, scripted from her bone and flesh, her eyes, her pain and pleasure. She hadn't planned to bear an allegory for how her life could be, but there I was. Here I am, a narrative twist, a new vocabulary, my birth photo beside the definition for surprise. And how surprised years later when she reached to touch her breast and found it there, that fibrous knot, that kernel sentence for an ending which would write itself. We all want some stories to last a little longer. The evening before she died, I sat with her and promised I'd always remember what a beautiful mother she had been. But of course, none of us can make that guarantee. My wife, who fears her mother's dementia may one day be her own, writes down everything she sees and hears in case one night it disappears. So when I consider that moment in the hospital, I worry the final line I told my mother was a fiction. That's why there are certain words and phrases I'll never say again. I've grown tired of how, like an old Faber eraser, life strips the surface away, leaving only the illusion of new and clean. And now I only believe in plot when music is absent. I only believe in memory when there's nothing left to imagine. For instance, what if I tell you I never made my mother that promise? Perhaps it's just a story I tell myself to make her ending seem a little kinder. Thank you.
I'm going to read the two poems that appeared in this wonderful issue. The first one is called Endlessly Circling the Condo Pond. My husband and I wheel the curving path, his thin shoulder blades knifing through my denial, his hair regrown in dandelions that I gently blow apart, wishing away his wheelchair. I want to be like the great blue heron, a Buddha plumbing a deep composure, all stillness and inward gaze, not a one-legged question mark at the end of a tirade against death. I yearn to taste the salt of this moment, to relish the inedible morsel of time, my beloved with me in the delicious space between certainty and doubt, where the heron suggests acceptance, or at least the possibility, despite what hovers like a mirage over hot pavement, despite the truth my dearest allows, but keeps to himself. And the next poem is called Perennial. I am no botanist, dear daffodil. No, I am a white nightgown, wandering suburban streets, all grounding lost until my mind returns to my husband in our garden, his hand reaching to hang a thistle feeder in the sweet gum tree for goldfinches returning to naked branches. On the mantel beside his readers and copper urn, a cairn of favorite stones, in a lidded box, his watch and wedding band. Daffodil, you are alive, so it must be spring. Your yellow, oh so ordinary. You abide the perennial mystery, surrendering as if death were not a scalpel that cuts all the way through.
So great to listen to all you guys. I learned so much being in the company of other poets. My name is Rais, Tuluka, and I come from Sacramento. I'm going to read two poems, one called Bethlehem that I include that was published by SoFlo, and another called Questions for the Boy. So for Bethlehem, if I'm honest, the story reached me like heat rolling in off desert stone. This man, not yet 30, pulling water from the bones of jars and making it wine. They say he opened a blind man's eyes with spit and dust, called the dead man out of his tomb like it was nothing more than sleep. But what if by some ruin in the stars, some curse woven through our lineage like cracked olive branches, the grief still comes, no matter how we bow or lift our hands towards something greater. They say when they found Ezra's boy folded in the straw behind the stable, face calm as if dreaming, the mother shaking him softly, then not at all. What God would allow that? Am I wrong to say I stopped praying after that? I even said as much on the walk back through the alleys of the old quarter where bread costs more than a man's word, and words of miracle pass quicker than famine. Even now, when someone says they seen him, the Nazarene standing in the market with eyes like fire held at bay, I feel my chest lock up. At any moment, something terrible could crack open again. A child gone, a wife taken by fever. The ache hasn't left me. It sits behind the ribs, quiet as a lion waiting. And they say he walks among us now, that he weeps, that he laughs, that his touch is like morning. But I have been wrong before. I have waited and nothing came. But still, I want it to be true. I want the blind to see, the dead to rise, the stone to be rolled back, and one day I will believe again. I feel it coming. Like thunder under sand, I will walk the path barefoot, head bowed, asking only for a sign that the world might heal, that someone still walks among us who remembers how. And this next one is called Questions for the Boy. What do we do with the boy? Do we burn him? Do we nest him in dirt or stone? Do we wrap him in cedar and myrrh and muslin and all of our questions, then lower him into a country of worms? What becomes of a son's body if we leave his name for time to dissolve? Will it soften to the tongue like warm wax or shrivel like salted meat in the sun? We have the denim torn at the knee, his cracked phone, the shoelace knotted like an unfinished psalm. Are these relics or trash? Is grief what gives them weight? If the sheet stained with his sleep still holds the shape of him, would it be betrayal to wash it clean? Or worse, to wear it in secret like armor? On the floor beneath his dresser, a drawing he made, him as a hawk. Was this a wish or a warning? Did he know how close the wind had come to taking him? My brother says, bury quick. My mother cries for fire. Ashes can be held, she says. My father hasn't spoken since the accident, just holds the box of his old baby teeth. And I look at my own hands, half expecting chains, Prometheus style, welded by silence left to the vultures. My brother says he was a boy, not a myth, but I see the tale. He brought light to us. And what now? Shall we build a pyre in the backyard and call it a cathedral? Shall we drag him to earth and let nature take? Exile him to memory? Was he a country lost without a map? When did grief become its own topography, floodplain, drought, scorched field? Where is the hole they talk about, the one you can crawl into and forget? And is forgetting too a kind of godsend? How long does it take? How many mornings? How many vultures? I look at my hands, the chains again. Once these hands held him, now they only ask questions. What do we do with the body? What do I do with these hands? What do we do with the boy? Thank you.
I think I'm up.
All right, you're up.
Tough act to follow, but with fabulous, fabulous reading. Thank you, Michael, for including me, and thank you for including me in the journal. And Rais, that both poems were just absolutely gorgeous. That first one, I felt like I was wrestling with you with the angel, and with gratitude. I say that, if that makes any sense. I'm just going to read the one poem that was published in the journal, Unwanted Nocturne. The helicopter is landing on the roof again. Your tethers strike the metal rails of your ICU bed, and you try to speak. Am I the only person in the room to tell you to lie back, relax? What you want to tell me is important, but the years counting back to this hard moment are panicked flutter beats in night's thorns, spear-shaped leaves, overgrown walls along a shuttered house. The blood drop eye of the towhee thrashing in the hedges is eyeing me. Trauma bee drawn to my gray flower. The helicopter touches down above us, and brother, you stir, you who told me all the stories in my life. I'm telling the dead to calm down, lie back. I'm right here, but your mouth keeps moving. Thank you.
This is a guilty pleasure for me. I absolutely love this part of putting an issue out every quarter, and I love the fact that so many poets participate. And just thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting us with your work. Thank you for writing what you write. Y'all are pretty amazing folks. Thank you. And with that, good night. Thank you, everyone. Good night.